Hi children, today's story is one of the Alfie and Annie Rose stories. I really enjoy these stories, and this book has got lots of different Alfie and Annie Rose stories, so I'm going to read two of them. They're a little bit short stories, but they are really good. I hope you enjoy them. First story is called Breakfast. Early one morning, Alfie helped his baby sister Annie Rose out of her cot, and they went downstairs. Alfie went down forwards, holding onto the banister, and Annie Rose went down backwards, feet first. Dad was in the kitchen having his breakfast, so Alfie and Annie Rose joined in and had breakfast too. Alfie sat up at the table in a proper chair. He had a china bowl with bears marching all round the edge. Annie Rose sat in her high chair with the tray in front. She had a plastic drinking mug and bowl and her own little spoon. While Alfie was eating up his cereal, Annie Rose pretended she was playing in a band. She drummed her spoon on the tray, ring-a-ding, bong-a-bong, and sang very loudly. Morra, 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 gorra-dooley. Dad hid behind the cornflake packet when Annie Rose was singing and playing because it was so noisy. When Alfie got tired of spooning up his cereal, he made patterns with it in his bowl instead. He made the crumbly bits into an island with a sea of milk all around, but soon the island got all soppy and soggy, so he gave each bear a piece of it with the tip of his spoon. After that, his breakfast looked rather messy. Then Alfie kindly started to help Annie Rose with her breakfast. He filled up her drinking mug with milk. Annie Rose could drink out of it very well by herself. But when she'd had enough, she started to drip the rest of it onto a tray and onto the floor. Dad had to get a floor cloth and mop it up. Annie Rose could eat out of her bowl too when she wanted to. Alfie helped her fill up her spoon. But today she couldn't make up her mind where her breakfast was supposed to go. She tried to put it in her ear, then into her hair. Then she started to spread it all over the place. Quite a bit of it went down her front. Put it in here, Annie Rose, Alfie said, opening his mouth very widely and pointing. Trying to help his little sister, isn't he? Then Annie Rose opened her mouth very wide too and put in a big spoonful of breakfast all by herself. Look, Annie Rose is eating up her breakfast, shouted Alfie. Eating is quieter than singing, I suppose, said Dad. That's our first little story called Breakfast. And then we've got another little story here, called Grandma's Pictures. So I'm going to share that one with you as well. Alfie and Annie Rose had a grandma. She drove about here and there in her little red car, and she often came to visit them. Sometimes she brought presents, even when it wasn't anybody's birthday. Grandma could dance, and she could sing, and tell stories. She and Alfie did a lot of cooking together. Grandma had a big book of pictures. There were photographs of everyone in the family. Alfie liked looking at them with her and asking who all the different people were. There was a picture of Grandma and Grandpa on their wedding day, and a picture of Mum when she was a little girl, and another when she was a big schoolgirl. And there was a picture of Mum and Dad by the seaside before they got married. There were some pictures of Alfie and Annie Rose too, when they were tiny babies. The one Alfie liked best was a picture of himself having a bath in the old baby bathtub. The oldest picture in the book was rather faded. It was of Grandma and her brother Will when they were children. That was a very long time ago. Alfie liked hearing Grandma tell him about what things were like then and how they lived in the country and didn't have a car or a television set. Grandma and Will had to walk a long way to school every day, along a green lane with hedges on either side, full of wild flowers and blackberries. Grandma liked school even though the teacher was very strict. Grandma's brother Will was older than she was, but he didn't like school one little bit. As they got nearer and nearer to school every morning, Will would walk more and more slowly. Often Grandma said she had to drag him along by the hand in case they were late. Sometimes they would arrive at school only just in time as the school bell stopped ringing. Will hated school so much that one morning, do you know what he did? took off his grey school trousers and threw them over the hedge. It was a very high hedge, so there was no hope of getting him back. Then he walked on and up to the school door in his underpants. Of course, when the teacher saw him like that, and all the children giggling, she wouldn't let him come into the classroom. He had to stay in the boys' cloakroom all morning, and at dinner time, she sent him home in a pair of borrowed trousers. They were much too big and had to be held up with braces, but Will didn't mind. He got what he wanted, which was the next day off school. You see, Grandma explained, he only had one pair of good trousers. Their mother wouldn't dream of letting him go to school in anything else, and she had to walk up the lane herself, climb over a high gate onto the field to rescue them. They were all dirty and covered in cowpat. The next day, their mother washed the trousers and hung them on the clothesline to dry, while Will stayed indoors and played with his new jigsaw puzzle. Does Will still live in the country and have no car and no television, Alfie wanted to know. Oh no, said Grandma. He grew up long ago and went off to live far away in Australia. Now he has a big car and a television, and he owns a store which sells men's and boys' clothing. Does he have trousers in his store, said Alfie. Oh yes, Grandma said. Many, many pairs. And that's the end of our two little stories. Thank you for watching, children. We'll see you tomorrow.